Hello, Mark Silver here from Heart of Business, and I want to tell you a story, and I'm going to take a little bit of a risk telling this. Please bear with me. I'm going somewhere very important about marketing and business, but I have to start with the fact that I was watching a Facebook Live that Nicole Lee had done. And now Nicole Lee is a human rights lawyer, and she does amazing work around diversity, equity, and inclusion. She's been in some of the she's got a resume a mile long, and she's tremendous. And she's bringing together the star-studded group of teachers that I love to the moon and back on this topic. And so I'm going to be taking a weekend workshop with her in a couple of weeks with them. And anyway, I'm telling you this because she did this Facebook Live on microaggressions, specifically around the term good morning, and talking about how good morning for some folks, specifically in this case for a lot of white folks, is kind of it's not necessary. You know, it's like you say good morning to people when you feel good, and when you're busy or otherwise occupied, you may not say good morning. Of course, this is generalizing tremendously, but it's true in my experience as well. And that for a lot of black folks or people from other marginalized communities, good morning is a necessity because it's a recognition that we're here together. And I know this because I spent a fair amount of time in the queer community in San Francisco, and that acknowledgement is so important when you are in a world that doesn't acknowledge you. And I've noticed that here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, we live in Midtown, and I walk our dog around these streets. And, Harrisburg is a majority black city. It's a very diverse neighborhood that I'm in. And I've observed the same thing, that the black folk who live around here are very willing and happy to say good morning. I've seen them interrupt conversations that they're in to say good morning to people passing by. And I've seen that white folk less so, and not always so much. Sometimes, but not so consistently. And I've realized that for me, as a person, the way that I want to move in the world is that I want to be acknowledging the people around me. I want that acknowledgement and that awareness to be a necessity. And I've noticed that while I can be very friendly in receiving and responding to a good morning or other acknowledgement, that I didn't want to be that person who was always responding. I realized that I wanted to take a risk and be the first to extend my heart. And so that is something that I have been doing really consistently. And often adding additional comments, not just saying good morning, but how are you? And whoa, check out the weather. And when they respond, adding something to it, having it become an interaction. And I was raised in the white suburbs. This was not something that I grew up with, that I had to learn and open my heart to. And there's a richness to it. The connections and friendships that I've started to make because I've been willing to extend my heart and be vulnerable have been incredible, very, very, very nourishing. And I wanted to bring this around to business because when we're in business, the people that you can help are needing acknowledgement. They're feeling vulnerable. They're often feeling stuck. And when you, in your business, are so worried about, am I being accepted? Are they going to recognize me or accept me? Are they going to return my good morning? You're missing out on opportunities. Your job as a business owner is to be willing to be vulnerable enough to extend your heart first. And sometimes people are not going to respond. That happens to me here in Harrisburg. Good morning, and people are like this, or it's a very terse response, or good morning. But the number of times I'm met with an open heart, that if you can be the first not to try to sell to somebody, not to try to get something from somebody, but to just see the way that the people that you can help are struggling and be the first to extend your heart in so many different ways, we make the world a better place. And you start to make connections and build trust with people in ways that really matter. Diversity, equity, and inclusion in business is about the willingness of those of us who have so much, that we extend our hearts first. Because what we receive for ourselves is also nourishing. And that's how this world is made into a better place, interweaving of love and connection and community that arises out of the willingness to take a risk and be vulnerable. So that's my invitation to you. Be the first to extend your heart. Blessings. And I'd love to hear your experience with this in your business.